In this video, we're going to start an introduction to object-oriented programming concepts by talking about classes and objects. The idea of object-oriented programming has been around for several years, and it's based on the idea that we should write code that models the real world. So since we have objects that we interact with on a daily basis or objects that we understand and their relationships, we want to start to think about those problems and those objects as we write our code so that we can implement this idea in a much more straightforward way that's logical for humans. So objects are anything that we're interacting with in our application. So this could be a person, it could be an account. It could be a car. Doesn't have to necessarily be a physical object, so like an account is a good example of this, but we want our objects to ultimately translate into these ideas called classes. And classes are a programmatic way of representing each one of our physical items in code. So classes contain two different ideas. We have properties and methods. So let's look at an example using our idea of a car. Cars have properties in that they have physical descriptions. So properties are basically our nouns or physical concepts. So the properties of a car would be things like color, number of doors, type of transmission, right? You get the picture. Methods are our verbs, actions, right? Things that our object can do. So the methods of a car would be drive or go, brake or stop. You may have other methods that your car specifically can do, like turns on the blinker or activates the headlights, but you get the idea. So when we're translating the idea of a physical object, like a car, into programming terms, we first define the properties and methods that would make up that object and what kind of responsibilities we're going to need in the code in order to make that object work the way that we need it to work. So throughout this section of the lesson, we'll look at some of the various concepts and how to start writing classes, which we can then implement in our applications.